Good morning, guys. Uh, Today I'm going to show you very quickly two things. One, how to fill out the examples whenever you're working on the examples in Savvis Realize, and also how to do the practice and problem solving. I won't have to do this for you all the time, but since it's the beginning of the school year, I want you to see all of the things that you have to use on the computer in order to do that. You also notice here on the board, I have one thing about invisible math. Every now and then you may see something like this posted behind me whenever I'm videoing for you. Today, you'll notice the invisible math up here says x equals 1x. And the reason that happens, guys, is anytime you see a variable simply like the variable x, you have to understand that means there is 1x. So there's a 1 as a coefficient in front of that variable. That is just something that we know in math. And those things that we are supposed to just know, we call those invisible math. You may see a lot of these things posted here behind me throughout the school year. I'm not going to post them every single time, but you will see them here and there. Also, when you come to the class, you will see them on my wall. There's a whole lot of invisible math, and that's kind of what makes math tricky. Is there's a lot of things they don't tell you in math. They don't tell you these things in math class because they're just things that are supposed to be known. Okay, so if you take a look at my screen here, your screen's not going to look exactly like mine, but you will have to work on example 1, 2, and 3 in this topic. And in order to do that, you will click on example 1 and try it. And when you click on example 1 and try it from your screen, you will end up with the same screen that I'm going to see right here. Now, this screen is going to start to talk to us because it's our first example.
How can you write repeating decimals as fractions?
Now, I paused the video. However, you've got to go through that entire video and just check it out because it's going to explain to you how to solve these problems. If you don't watch the video, you're obviously not going to know how to solve the problem. And our big problem here is, how can I write a repeating decimal as a fraction? I actually already showed you that in a video prior to this, but let's take a look at this. Now, you will listen to this whole video. Wonderful. After you get done listening to that whole video and maybe doing some of the activities that they ask of you, then you're going to come down here to the bottom of the screen and you will see one of two. That means there are 2 pages here in this first example. So I'm going to go to the second page. The second page is going to give me a try it. I have to try to solve this problem that they have already showed me and Mr. Zernick has already showed you. Now, when we look at this, we say, well, how in the world am I supposed to write on this? I mean, this thing's a Chromebook. Well, here's what we can do. Over here, there's a toolbar. We have to bring that toolbar to where we can see it, or maybe make it a little easier on you. You will notice that here is our first equation. It says x equals 0.4 repeating. Guys, all that means is this letter is assigned to that number. So these two things right here are actually the same thing. Okay, we just assigned a variable to 0.4 repeating. You also know that if you watch the video that when you multiply both sides, you are going to multiply them both by how many repeating digits there are. In this case, there are 1, so we are going to use the first power of 10. So if we use the first power of 10, 10 to the first power is equal to 10. So I need to type 10 into this box. Here's what's bad. I'm clicking in here. And there's nothing showing up. Well, what you've got to do is come over here and grab a text box. You'll see that text box pop up like this. Type the number 10 into that text box. If you have to, you can make these smaller like this. And then you got to click out of it on the screen somewhere, anywhere. And you'll see that my 10 is just kind of hanging out up there. Well, then you can go up and grab that 10 and place it in this box. Okay, so if I multiply that side by 10, then I also got to multiply this side by 10. So I have to go back. I have to grab another text box. I have to type in the number 10. I can squeeze it down if I want to. It doesn't have to go down. Click out of it, grab your text box, pull it over here. Boom, you got it. You're going to do that for this whole thing. Okay, so for everything that's on the screen, you got to do all the steps. This says 10 times x, so I would put a 10 in here, 10x. This says 10 times 0.4 repeating. Well, if I multiply by 10, all I got to do is take this decimal, move it over 1, so it's going to become 4.4. Okay, and that 4 after the decimal will be the repeating. Okay, so when I get to the bottom of this, I am going to actually come up with the answer of 4/9. I already know that. So I'm going to show you that. So I'm going to put down here 4/9. After I filled all this stuff in, I'm not going to fill everything in because it'll take me forever. I'm not going to do that for you. You just take your time and do it on your time. So if I know the answer is 4/9, I put down here 4/9. Then over here it says, well, if this is 0.4 repeating, the team won how many of their games? Well, I have to once again type in 4/9 over here. And I have to put that in this text box. So in order for this to be complete, all of these parts have to be complete. And some people do that and then they say, well, I'm totally done, but you're actually not totally done. The other thing you have to do down here says convince me. How do you know what power of 10 to multiply by in the second step at the right? So over here, how did I know to multiply by 10? Well, I'm going to add another text box. And in that text box, I'm going to write, I knew to multiply by the first power of 10 because there was only one repeating digit. And then I can click off of that, grab my text box, and put it down here for my answer. If you don't do all of those things in the examples, guys, it takes away from your grade. Okay, it will tell me that, hey, this is in progress and you're not finished. It will actually not turn this whole thing in until you fill all of this stuff out. That's just one example. Now, you also have example 2 and you also have example 3 to do this with. Some of the examples don't even ask you to do a whole lot. They only ask you to type in one little tiny thing, and I'll help you out with that as we go through this. Okay, the next thing I want you to look at is practice and problem solving. So another thing that you will have on yours is practice and problem solving. Now, yours, unlike mine with the drop-down menu, you will have a menu that goes across the top of your screen, and you can click on each part of that menu. So here is Math Excel practice and problem solving. I'm going to start and I'm going to do number 1 with you. Okay, so I'm going to do, when I do question 1, what happens is it wants to know 7/500ths repeating. Well, guess what? I'm going to need this because now I have to write this down. I'm going to write this down on here as x equals 0 and 7/500ths repeating. Now, if you do x equals 0 and 7/500ths repeating, it will look like this. Well, you can't hardly see mine, but it's there. What am I going to multiply both sides by? What power of 10 is this? Well, how many digits are repeating? In this case, there's not one digit repeating. There's 2 digits repeating. So if there are 2 digits repeating, that means I got to multiply both sides by 100. And I do that, and I get 100x equals, and if I move the decimal twice because it's multiplying by 100, I'm going to get 75 and 0.75 repeating again. And then I'm going to subtract just like I'm supposed to. And I'm actually going to end up with an answer in this case of 75 over 99. So I did all the work. I did everything that was asked of me. Now, down here you see that there's a check answer box. If there's a check answer box like this on your practice and problem solving and you check it, it may tell you that it's correct or it may tell you that it's wrong. And if it tells you that it's wrong, it's going to tell you how to do it so you can go back and fix it. So you don't even have to get this right on your first try. You could try you could try 2 or 3 times to get that answer. Let's say I have this question and I don't know how to get to the answer. Up here on the top right-hand side is question help. This is available on practice and problem solving. Look what happens when I click on question help. Help me solve this. View an example. There's a video. Okay, help me solve this. Well, let's do that. Here it is. It's already going to help you. I can continue. See how it multiplied both sides? Now, it didn't do 75. It did 7/200ths. It multiplied both sides by 100. After it multiplied both sides by 100, it subtracted the first equation. And then you would continue. You would subtract your first equation. And then you would go on and divide both sides by 99, and you'd get 72/99ths. So question help is available for you for all of these. Let's say I have this one. This one's answer is 48 over 99. I go down here and check my answer. Well, let's say I did this wrong. Let's say I'm a goofball and I said, hey, I got 44/100ths or 48/100ths. Check it. That's incorrect. Okay, so say, okay, now I don't know how to do that. Wow, go up here, check out question help. Help me solve this. Okay, and it'll give you something that'll help you solve it. Hey, I can do this one. I know the answer. It's 24/99ths. All right, check my answer. Ooh, that's incorrect. Now, why is it incorrect? If I read here, if you have to write a simplified version. So now I got to simplify this. Well, in order to simplify it, 24 and 99 can both be divided by 3. So this answer is going to be 8 over 33. I got to highlight this out and do 8 over 33. Check my answer. Yay, I got it right. And then I can move on to the next one. So as you're working on these things, notice there's a lot of work, and you may get things right, you may get things wrong, but notice that there's everything there for you that you may need in order to help you out. I'm not going to do this for every single time we have an assignment, guys. It's just that this is the beginning of the year, and you have to know how to get around. You have to know how to use the text box. You have to know where your help is available for you. So there's a lot of things that I'm trying to tell you now to help you through the rest of the school year. So I don't have to help you out because you'll be able to see all that. So take your time. And again, if you can't get it, this is our first week of school. Please don't worry about it. Okay. Keep it in a memory boxes. Hey, I got to ask Mr. Zernick when I go to school, or I got to email Mr. Zernick. You can email me. You can ask me. You can send me some private comments on the Google Classroom, or whatever you need to do. Get in contact with me and I'll help you out. I'll take care of it. Thanks, guys. Let's start off with some great work, with some school year with some great work and some great ideas. And you're going to learn so much that your brain might explode.